Using zomboids are really, really fun to use. Zomboids to me have to be like one of the coolest plant mechanics in PvZ2. Although they kind of are just like hypnotizing, but it's kind of hard to be creative around here. There are only 2 plants that actually make these zomboids. That was enough for me to wonder, can you beat the game just having your own army of zombies? I would think yes, because these guys are actually really overpowered once you get them going. But you have to get them going. If you get overwhelmed easily in the beginning of the game, your whole thing is just cooked. Also, from the fact that we only have 2 plants that we have to rely on, it might get a little difficult. We start on day 3, but I feel like we should just start on another world, because if you have used these plants before, you know how good they are. What the? Yeah, so you can think of Snake Lily as like a cauliflower in a way, except it doesn't hypnotize but turns them into a zomboid. They also have their strengths and weaknesses though. Like Snake Lily is quicker and costs less but can't shoot behind or turn like Gargantuars or the mechs from Far Future. And Cauliflower can hypnotize anything and shoot behind them, but has a worse plant food and costs more. So which one do you think is better? Day 3 was easy peasy, but I just thought I should try to power scale a little. Day 10, nothing really happened as well. I mean, I probably could have just put 1 Snake Lily down and it would have taken out the whole thing. Because, you know, not really any overwhelming waves yet, but having Zoidbeam Pod is really nice for ancient Egypt, because they just eat all the graves if you put them in the very back, so it clears out a lot of space, even though this like challenge is more of like a less plants, more power type challenge. But still, day 17 is like just as easy, but we can't have more than 14 plants down. The torch zombie is not really any like different from a regular zombie. He can't really get close enough to our snake lilies to burn through anyone, and he eats the zomboids. He doesn't like immediately burn them, so yeah. Even though I think playing your defense levels are like completely unfair from the zombies POV. Oh shit. And also I think playing your defense levels are like good no matter what plants you use, because you can just strategize beforehand. But these plants particular thrive in playing your defense. The Zoidbeam pods can just like make massive hordes in the back, and then you have a couple snake lilies to deal with the stragglers. So yeah, with the few playing your defense levels that we're gonna have throughout this challenge, I don't think we're gonna lose one. Day 20 we had to protect these sunflowers, but no overwhelming amounts of hordes. And also we just placed the snake lilies up high so they can take care of everything, because the snake lilies have a range of about 3 tiles. So but day 21 we already had a problem with overwhelming zombies, or just the fact that we couldn't get more than 1 snake lily down because he can only take care of so many zombies, so one actually got through. But on a positive note, snake lily can completely one-shot the grave zombie. So there's basically just like no threats in ancient Egypt at all, I guess. Day 22 was pretty easy. Day 23 had no restrictions, so again, really easy. But we did have to use a plant food to take care of the Gargantuar, because that's like the only way we can take care of our Gargantuar. I don't know how many snake lily hits it would take to actually like kill a Gargantuar, like turn it, but it seems like an infinite amount. Day 24 was a plan your defense level. Surely Pirate Seas will get harder, right? Even though Snake Lily can reach all the way across the map, it gets very difficult on these levels with the flying zombies over the water and the swinging zombies for Snake Lily to keep up. Snake Lily has a recharge time of 45 seconds, and sun drops, like 50 sun drops approximately every 10 seconds. So we have enough sun for a Snake Lily every time he gets off recharge, but the problem is we don't have enough time to deal with all these zombies to get more than 1 snake lily down before we, you know, die. On day 10 I placed my snake lily 1 tile back to defend all the zombies coming. In every level I tend to have more Zoidbeam pods than snake lilies, but I feel like I'm gonna learn pretty soon that snake lilies are kind of better than soybean pod, but for right now it's working. Day 14 was a plan your defense, and it gave me a run for my money, and then it took all of my money. This level was really hard because of one reason: these stupid wheelbarrow zombies. Not only would my soybean zomboids get completely destroyed, but Snake Lily would only hypnotize the wheelbarrow zombie, and they would do it like really late because of all the other zombies they have to hypnotize. So when the wheelbarrow broke open, it spawned on all of my Snake Lilies, and they didn't have time to react, so they took all of them out. So I eventually ended up losing. My next attempt, I realized what I had to do and just put 2 whole rows of Snake Lilies. We still ended up getting overwhelmed at the very end, but at least we kept all of our lawnmowers this time. Day 15 seemed like it was going to be a really hard level just because of all the cannons and the swinging zombies and the fact that we couldn't let them trample the flowers, but they gave us a lot of bailout plant food that we could use, and Snake Lily's plant food is just so good. Day 16 is usually pretty hard when I do challenges, but not this one. I don't know if it's because Snake Lily had 3 plant food at the end or not, but I immediately messed up on day 17. I do not know why I placed my Snake Lily all the way up there. Our bottom lane immediately got taken out because Snake Lily had to deal with so many things. Even the plant food couldn't bail us out. And we ended up losing this one pretty quickly. The next attempt, I put my Snake Lily in the middle and immediately established a whole line of soybean pods in the beginning. And with some pretty good plant food, we ended up making through it.
What the fuck are you even talking about?
Day 21 had the exact same objective as the last level we played, except we had to produce a certain amount of sun. So I whipped out our boy Sunshroom and got to work. But these 2 plants are insane if you just have enough sun to place every time they come off cooldown. Because look, I have 1600 sun right now, and I could just keep placing more, but I have no room. Day 22. I knew day 22 was like gonna be the end of me, like in real life and in the game, but I honestly, going into this, I expected to beat this level with ease, just because in my hypnotizing only challenge I actually ended up winning just because of soybean pod. But that's because we had the enchantment, which make the soybean pod produce the freaking zomboids with like the carrots on their heads and stuff. So it was pretty easy. But the zombies they produce without the enchantment are like really flail and die to like 2 imps. So I tried like a few more different setups and none of them worked. But can I just say, I'm not surprised. But yeah, that is 1 level failed in the challenge, and it happened in World 2. Now we're on to the Wild West, where there's not really any swarm units that can like overwhelm our Oh, okay. I know that seemed really easy to deal with them, but now look at this situation. Yeah, so the only way for us to deal with the chicken zombies is the oddball situation where they're in front of everybody else. But just like the hypnotizing challenge, it was fine if the cauliflower hypnotized the chicken zombie, but if they hypnotized someone and then it bit off the chicken zombie, then all the chickens went everywhere. But just like the hypnotizing challenge, again, our zomboids can easily tank all of the chickens as long as we have zomboids on the field. But with a really long recharge speed, we're not going to be able to have a full row of soybean pods whenever we need it and at the beginning of the game. We did end up winning this level, but I'm just telling you, don't get your hopes. Day 13 was very confusing to look at, but what I did figure out was zomboids are very good against the mechanic bulls. But with one thing that we're really good against, we also struggle against something: the old man zombies that jump behind. Cauliflower can target things behind them, but Snake Lily can't. So we might be cooked. It's only been 1 more day and I still can't catch a break. I thought we were doing good at first because we had like soybean pods in like every freaking row, but apparently not, because the chickens still ended up wiping us out. After a few attempts of that, I ended up realizing that we just need like more time and more sun and more soybean. So I ended up using Sunshroom, just a little bit of them, to get a whole row of soybean pods down so we can deal with all the chickens. So if you want to say that is 1.5 levels failed, then yeah, sure. The next few levels were pretty easy, including this level, day 17. There was no zombies that jumped behind you, there was no chicken zombies, there was no piano zombies, I don't even think. So yeah, it was pretty happy for a moment there. Oh my god! Do I even need to explain why this level is unbeatable? First of all, it's a plan your defense, and they give us this many plants worth that we can use, and there are literally only chickens and zombies that jump behind you. How is this even fair? Day 23, we couldn't let these zombies trample the flowers, and we couldn't lose more than 2 plants. But this level wasn't very hard just because there wasn't any of those zombies that made me fail every single level. Wait, what is that? We did end up beating this level with a whole row of soybean pods in the back to ensure that there are no chickens getting by at all. Now it's off to the Iceland, which has to have one of the most annoying mechanics in the game, especially for challenges like this. And also, I will die on the hill that Frostbite Caves should not be like the 4th world. It should be like the 7th or something, bro, because this world is way harder in my opinion than Lost City and the freaking night levels. But for levels that don't have an insane amount of like just freezing winds like every single second, Frostbite Caves is actually pretty easy for this challenge, because Frostbite Caves solely really relies on like heavy hitter stuff and like interesting, you know, zombies like the freaking dodo zombie, but Snake Lily can just one-shot all of them. Now there are the weasels later, but they're not as dominant in the world as the chicken zombies are in the Wild West. Now day 11, these freezing winds I'm talking about are already happening. But the Snake Lily still deals with all the zombies pretty easily, like the zombies with the ice on their heads that they think are going to take us really long to take out. The Snake Lily just one-shots them, and also they just give us a bunch of plant food this level, so that's nice of them. Not that this happens very often, but Snake Lily can also shoot at the ice of the fellow plants and unfreeze them sometimes. But again, there's usually a lot of waves going on, so Snake Lily usually never does this, but sometimes he does, and it's cool, I guess. Day 12 was a plan your defense level, and this one actually worked out. Also, the zomboids actually get hit by the ice tiles, which is kind of nice because they're on the same tiles as, you know, the zombies would be, but not the dodos, so we kind of have to rely on the Snake Lily to take care of the dodos himself. We skip all the way to day 19 because the other levels were kind of like nothing burgers. But day 19 honestly was not that hard either. They limited us to like 3 plants, but again, we only need 2. Day 22 had the weasel zombies, but they didn't really do anything. We had a full row of soybean pods, and we also had a lot of plant food. But yeah, there was like a full row of weasels at one point, but they just like disappeared immediately. Day 23, we're supposed to protect all the, I forgot what their names were. But this level was actually way easier trying to protect them, or not trying to protect them, because they were honestly just protecting our plants because they could deal with all the weasels when we couldn't. So yeah, we kind of won because they were there. Day 24 was a real pain in my ass. So this day was extremely difficult for 3 reasons. The extreme blizzards coming through every second, the weasels, and the fact that we had to produce 2,500 sun. I tried to put my sun shrooms up the field a little more so I can have my soybean pods in the back, and when they produce a zombie they can go eat all the frozen sun shrooms so we can keep getting more sun. But my soybean pods just got frozen too. Even my first time making it to the very end, and we were probably gonna win this, I still wasn't gonna win because we needed 1,000 more sun. And my Snake Lily just took out every zombie, and I tried to unplant him, but then the dude just got past. Like, bro. But when you get that close to finishing a level, you know it is possible. So I just kept trying and trying and trying. It was extremely close, but I eventually got a Snake Lily down to take care of the caveman that's about to get it. And then the last second, and I'm telling you, the last second where I should have got the win, 1 sun shroom gave me enough sun to win. Like, you can't make this up, bro. And then the next level had 4 flags and full of weasels. What just took me out there? Thankfully, only the second try we beat it. Thankfully, that was the last hard level, and the next 2 levels were just like complete bloodbaths.
Viewing of this tape is prohibited. Discard it immediately. Viewing of this tape.
These next 4 worlds are really going to test Soybean and Snake Lily. We start out on day 6 of the Lost City, and there's really nothing to worry about special zombie wise. The zombies of Lost City are made for like blocking projectiles, which our plants don't do. So we basically just bypass all that, and The Shovel and the Mary Poppins zombie are just regular Joe zombies to us, basically. The only thing I am worried about is the amount of zombies they throw at us. I mean, day 6 already has 3 flags, so on day 10, I realized that every single level we're going to be having. On day 10, I realized that every single level we're probably going to have to let a zombie get by one way or another. Because we can only put out one snake lily at the beginning, so if there are more than like 2 zombies, he's kind of just cooked. The sun tiles do help a lot though, and will definitely be the reason we beat some of the later levels. Day 12, we have to produce 5,000 sun. This is one of those levels. Now in other worlds, this would be a huge problem for us, but with the sun tiles, it was really easy, and we just played the level normal and just let the tiles do the work. The zombies were not a problem either, since we had enough sun to spam snake lilies and zoe beans whenever they were off cooldown. Day 15, we had to protect 2 of the noodle things.
What?
This wasn't hard at all. Not only were they helping us kill zombies, but snake lily could kill everything. They also gave us a lot of plant food, which I didn't use. Day 17 is where things get a bit annoying just because the imp's carrying a whole tent on their back. Now these guys are only a nuisance at the beginning of the level, just because we only have 1 snake lily and this thing just keeps spawning zombies over and over again. But eventually the zombies we turned into veggies can take out the tents. Also, they gave us a lot of plant food again that I didn't use. Day 19 was very short, and short levels are my favorite, since it means not a lot of zombies. But even if there is a lot, it gets close enough to the end where I can just take them out with the lawnmowers. Same goes for level 20. It seemed like it was getting overwhelming, but thankfully it was the last flag, so I just let all my lawnmowers do the work. Day 23 was a very normal level. Even when I eventually got my plant food, the Gargantuar also took out my Zomboid Garg. Just by the way, a normal Garg will take out a Zomboid Gargantuar every time, since the Zomboid Gargantuar is slower. But if we have enough snake lilies on the field to hit the regular Gargantuar, then our Zomboid Gargantuar will get 3 hits in before the real one will get 3 hits on it. But in this case, we only had 1 snake lily, and bro wasn't even shooting at their Gargantuar, so ours went down. We lost that level immediately, of course, but I don't even remember the level doing that ever. Probably because in the only Hypno challenge, our Call of Power just hypnotized him. The next attempt, our Gargantuar actually took him out, and what do you know, we won because we didn't lose our whole setup immediately. Day 24 was going pretty well until, yeah, so we can't place our snake lily above the flowers or that happens. So I placed 1 behind and 2 up front, and we took out the Indiana Jones zombies. I don't know why they made day 25 this easy. Like, I'm not kidding when I say you could have had that as the day 7 level and no one would have batted an eye, but yeah, you do you, man. On day 27, we had to go up against the old heads with the skull. I honestly still don't know how they work, but I'm guessing if they're close enough, they'll just blow up your plants. We were doing so well, but in the last wave, they started fighting back. And in hindsight, I probably should not have placed the snake lily on the same row as the dude about to obliterate my zoe bean pod, but next time we got a better setup and had all of our lawnmowers till the end, so we just let them take them out so we didn't have to deal with them again. Day 29 had 3 Gargantuars at the end, and since we can't take them out with our own version, we just lose like every lawnmower we have. Lost World had nothing to write home about other than the typical Gargantuar push at the end of the world, but that is going to change in the far future. Since Snake Lily doesn't actually hypnotize and he just turns, his attacks don't really affect like really big threats that aren't zombies. Far future is going to be pretty bad for this little guy. Since later in the world half of the enemies will just be massive robot pushes, that we'll have to rely on Zoe Beam Pod for. But what I think the thing that will save us will be the power tiles, so we can activate multiple Zomboid Gargantuars on multiple rows with just 1 plant food. Now that's easy in theory, but we'll have to see how that actually goes. Day 7 we run into our first clanker, the Conehead robot. Snake Lily Plant Food Tornado actually does quite a bit of damage to the robots. It's just why waste the plant food that has more potential than that? Also, just the little zomboids themselves can chip away at it pretty well. Day 10 is already like the Disco Headquarters Zombies robot thing, and this thing is super annoying. Our Snake Lily cannot keep up. Eventually though, we had like 3 Gargantuars on the field at the same time, so it wasn't too crazy.
Please you need to stop. There are children.
Brains.
Day 13 was pretty hard. I barely got by, but day 15 is extremely frustrating no matter what challenge I do, because what was Crazy Dave thinking putting all these Citron all the way up there? But anyway, this level is extremely difficult because we already struggled with taking out the cone heads by now, and now we have to take care of them before they get 3 tiles down the lawn. The Citron does do some damage on them, but not enough for the snake lilies to finish them off, so we can't get enough soybean pods down to deal with all the lanes at the beginning of each attempt, so I usually let the lawnmowers on the top and bottom go so I can take care of the conehead robots in the middle. But then if we do this successfully, the final wave is conehead robots on the 2 lanes we don't have lawnmowers on. Figuring out I'm gonna need to keep my lawnmowers for this to work, I used snake lily plant food to take out the early wave I struggled with earlier and eventually actually won. Day 18 we had to produce a whopping 6,000 sun. Now we just spanned sun shrooms everywhere with the power tiles and we got 6,000 pretty easily. And a lot of zomboids. Day 20 is almost as frustrating as protecting those Citron. Here we have a full line of starfruit. And also we have to watch our behind because those stinky imp robots spawn behind us. Luckily starfruit can delay quite a bit of damage and mop up most of the zombies. We just have to make sure snake lily plant food ready just in case they get too close. We ended up using our plant food on the robot imp zombies that come behind. But thankfully, since we turned them into zomboid gargantuars and like the ones with like the carrots and watermelons on their heads, they clear out the incoming waves up front when they eventually get up there. Then we use the lawnmower at the end to take care of the red pusher robot. So easy peasy. Day 22 was a planar fence level and this one was extremely easy because of me putting my plants on the tiles and just using plant food like every single wave. And believe it or not, that is literally the end of all the hard levels of far future. It wasn't as big as a threat as I thought, but now on to the Dark Ages. I think that the Dark Ages will be really easy though, honestly. I had been wrong about some other worlds. For all of these levels though, we will have to use sun shrooms since none of these start us out with at least 200 sun. So yeah, we'll have to use sun producers. Starting on day 3, we have to let a lawnmower go because we couldn't get 200 sun in time. But after that, we had a crazy amount of plants. We had 6. But that is a lot for the challenge, so I would say on day 5 we also lost our lawnmower, and I did, but I'm going to stop mentioning losing lawnmowers at the beginning since I lose at least one like every single level. Anyway, I think you guys will be happy to know that the Jester literally has no effect on our plants. Day 6 is what a planar defense level should be, watching 2 lines of zomboids being created every 10 seconds. It's so beautiful. The powerful zombies with the night helmets on are in the next level, and the day 9 potion buffs were a bit different because it made the zombies faster, but there weren't many of them, so not really difficult at all. Day 11 was going amazing. Also, another thing in our sleeve of tricks is that the wizard zombies don't affect our snake lilies like at all. Like, they literally just do nothing to them. They're basically just like a brick wall to protect our soybean pods at this point. Now look at the screen right now. Everything looks like it's going great. What could possibly go wrong here? How are they going to put a tombstone all the way in the back and summon imps from it? Like, bro! Like, they're just grasping at straws since no other zombie in this world does anything to my plants. I didn't mean to do this at all, but my snake lily turned the zombie last second and it was barely on the tombstone, so it ate it. Day 14 is the infamous sunbean and tombstone level, which is like the kryptonite to like every challenge except like the only beans challenge, I guess. So we shouldn't even count this one, right? Right, guys? Right? So if anyone is counting this, this level is unbeatable without the bean. But to be fair, the bean is just to meet the objective, so my plants deal with the zombies just fine, right guys? The next level was a planar defense, but since there are wizard zombies involved this time, I just used 2 rows of snake lilies, so they literally just do nothing. Speaking of something that does nothing, the fat gluttonous king zombies get introduced in the next one. Since its ability changes nothing difficulty-wise, our zomboids eventually just get to the back and eat him silly. The last level is like the opposite effect happening. We have to protect these magnet shrooms, and I don't know who to be more mad at, the king zombie who is trying to make my life harder but it does nothing, or the magnet shroom who is trying to make my life easier and it does nothing. I'll just abuse my magnet shroom. Thankfully, they pity us and make the 2 gargantuars at the end come in the only 2 lanes where the magnet shrooms aren't. Right off of the bat, I assume that the neon mixtape tour will be pretty difficult due to the world keeping everything kind of like fast paced. But day 4 wasn't that at all. We had enough to deal with everything, like a lot of plant food. Day 7 was exactly what I was expecting. The music was blasting from the very beginning, and we only got 1 snake lily down, so we immediately lost like 3 lawnmowers. That would not be as bad if the flag did not immediately summon about 25 zombies and we only had like 2 snake lilies down on the field. After this, I was actually about to blow up thinking what the rest of the world would be like, but putting a snake lily all the way in the back row can barely pick off every zombie at the beginning, so we didn't lose any lawnmowers in time for the first flag. Now this first wave was still too much for the snake lilies we had, so I deliberately set off the lawnmower on the second to last row to take care of the bucket head with the plant food. With our plant food, we try to take out the wave, but there are still too many zombies and all my snake lilies for focusing on bigger and better things, I guess. The next attempt wasn't too good either, and it came down to my final line of defense, my Zoe beam pod. After the same result over and over again, I beat the level with some producers. Okay, I get it. But it is a huge difference between it being possible with or without some producers, so I'm just making sure it's possible with them. Other than a single gargantuar, day 12 was really simple. We had enough snake lilies to stun him long enough for our Garg to take him out. For a planar defense level with these huge waves, I tried to row zomboids with a row of snake lilies 2 tiles up. We started to lose a couple of plants near the end, but I thought we were getting pretty close to the end, so I thought we had this in the bag. After all the zombies took out all my lawnmowers home, the actual final wave came, like, I tried a strategy with just using snake lilies, but somehow it was like even worse. Just like the cauliflower or any plant like this, whenever they are all targeting one zombie, sometimes the tornado retargets and other times it literally just completely disappears and goes back on cooldown. So basically when you have more of these really good plants, they get like way dumber and way worse. So since there are only so many things you can change up in a planar defense level, this one is impossible. We then had a fairly easy level protecting these fat beats on day 15. Day 18 was only 1 flag at the very end, so you know that was about to be free for this challenge. Day 20 only had 2 flags and was easy until the last flag where we got overwhelmed. But thankfully we had all of our lawnmowers. On day 21 we couldn't let them trample the flowers, so of course I fell a couple of times immediately. On the 3rd attempt though, I set off a lawnmower early to take care of the zombie, and then it was kind of a smooth sailing until the last wave. Then guess what? The same row that the gargantuar came on, you guessed it, is the same row I let the lawnmower go up. I stopped recording since I spent like an hour on this level and said to myself that I was just unpause it when I knew I would win, but I kind of forgot, so here's just the last few seconds of the winning attempt. Yeah. Then the arcade zombie on level 23, which is basically just the imp tent from Lost City. It's probably even worse though, since he just keeps pushing it closer to you, and it's even more annoying when they pull bull like this when I'm just about to beat the level. I then placed a snake lily, but then it targeted a zombie farther away, like what the crap? To beat this level we just have to rely on it doing nothing like that. The next planar defense was thankfully easier than the last one, to say the least. The arcade zombies don't really do a lot when you already have 2 columns of plants. Day 25 was an easy peasy 1 flagger. Then protecting all these shrooms was almost the first try, but got eaten at the very end. Next attempt I set up the lawnmower early to kill the gargantuar so my snake lilies would actually focus on the lanes where the zombies are about to eat my shrooms. But the final threat of this world, the boombox zombies, which were extremely annoying to say the least. Maybe it was just because I'm using the plants that have long cooldowns, but I feel like the boombox falling in love segment lasts like way too long, bro. But just like that other level, I only got the last few seconds of me beating it. I'm sorry. Day 29 was very easy. Day 30 we couldn't have more than 15 plants for this challenge, but for this challenge it wasn't a problem, so we would just worry about the zombies. But even if it was a problem, I would probably just forget anyway, so I don't really know why, but the boombox zombies did nothing this level, and because of that it was very simple. I have a feeling some of these worlds might be easier. These last 3 worlds have a ton of different gimmicks that could either be extremely difficult for this challenge or really easy. But the world you think will be the easiest was probably actually the hardest. The first of the last 3 is Jurassic Marsh, of course. This world's gimmick is dinosaurs. Now, in theory, these dinosaurs are going to make this challenge very difficult since every dinosaur has its own way of getting zombies down the lane as fast as possible. With the very slow setup we have in the beginning, later levels can easily murk us. With the Velociraptor being the first dinosaur, I immediately realized putting my snake lily 3 tiles up was a huge mistake, with the raptor kicking the zombie directly in front of him. After just 2 raptors showing up, we immediately went down, and we lost every lawnmower except for one. But we were back in the game after a few plant foods going off. It was so close, but we fell to the raptors' drop kicks. On our next attempt though, our defense didn't fall apart immediately and we were able to have multiple plant food for the final wave, so it was easy to clean up. I don't know if I just forgot, but I placed my snake lily up 3 tiles again, so yeah, we're gonna lose every lawnmower, but yeah. The next attempt I learned and put him exactly 1 tile back, and just like that we barely took out every zombie and finished the last wave off with plant food. The next level has the Stegosaurus and the Velociraptors, which this might make sense because it's in a later level, but the Stegosaurus I think is way worse than the Raptor because he gathers multiple of them and throws them in like random directions, it seems. Which, if you couldn't guess, is terrible for our poor snake lilies. RNG is probably the one word that could keep snake lily up at night, I'm not gonna lie. We lost 2 lawnmowers, but we were holding on, barely killing zombies and all. But we did manage to win somehow. Day 10 has the pterosaurs, which honestly I don't know how they weren't a crazy problem. We had no way to deal with them, but our plants like never on the same row that they were doing their thing on, so that was kind of sick, I guess. So other than their coding being in this level, level 6 and 10 were much of the same. Level 11, however, immediately took out 2 of my plants and left this one in the middle. No pterosaurs came in the middle through the entire game though, so I just placed a conga line of snake lilies that would turn all the zombies that they brought to the first tile as they walked past. I guess this is how it's meant to be. Day 12 we couldn't lose more than 6 plants. They didn't throw a ton of zombies at us and we had plant food to clean it up though. Day 15 we had to protect these 2 primal walnuts. And this level wasn't hard at all, but I lost. I lost because this raptor pulled the same double move on me twice and kicked the zombies directly past the Zoidbeam pod. The next attempt, he still did it once, but I put a Zoidbeam and snake lily back to take care of him. Then the T-Rex came, which just makes every zombie extremely fast, and our snake lily's pea brain can't comprehend that someone can run faster than a jog since he's used to killing the zombies from The Walking Dead. Once we actually had a solid defense, the squad of gold medalist sprinters got crazy countered by plant food. Next we have to produce 2000 sun, which is very easy, especially wet. After that, I just built a wall of shrooms to defend off the horde, yeah. It was also nice to see my plan your defense level strategies actually working. Not to mention they gave us a crazy amount of sun, but by far the worst dinosaur in concept for this challenge is the Ankylosaurus. The reason I say in concept is because he didn't really make us lose like at all, but you cannot tell me if you looked at what each dinosaur did, you wouldn't say that he would be the worst for this challenge. Anyway, we got extremely lucky on this level. First, snake lily actually hit a zombie boosted by the T-Rex. Then, they gave us all the plant food in the world to deal with the zombies they push at us. Next, we couldn't plan on Dave's mold colonies. This is the first time I actually dreaded a level with Dave's mold in it. With the mold and the Ankylosauruses, the way to take out a zombie that gets pushed is to rely on our snake lily to turn them within a split second, which we all know isn't happening with his pea brain. But the biggest problems were the pterosaurs. Again. So after a couple of times of my brains getting eaten, I figured out the exact patterns of each pterosaur would come to each lane, so I was able to have my 2 snake lilies survive. Another plan your defense level is what follows, and this is very simple. It is a barrage of Ankylosaurus. But since we start out with plant food, it's just 1 flag, it is very peasy easy. Day 30 came down to the very end and we had no more plant food to deal with the Gargantuar, so our snake lilies just endlessly unloaded into him until we got eaten. On our next go around, I actually managed to keep my lawnmower and had a plant food for him, and just like that, that is all for Jurassic Marsh. I'm honestly kind of surprised there wasn't a single level that I couldn't complete or even had to use sunshrooms for, but yeah. I always think Big Wave Beach is the hardest world for any challenge, just because of the crazy unfair zombies in the world. It's actually insane. The water is a pretty big issue, but just because of this guy right here. Day 4 is very, very easy. Nothing too crazy yet. At least they're letting me get some good wins in before they demolish everything. Day 5 is pretty much the same other than the snorkel zombie, which can be pretty annoying, but it's not even the zombie itself that annoys me, it's kind of the snake lily. If the water is right in front of the snake lily, he won't even shoot when the snorkel zombie emerges, it just sits there. It's not even that it's on cooldown or anything, It says its range is 3 tiles, but there are multiple times when Snake Lily shoots when the zombie is like a tile in front for like no reason at all. Like, it is so inconsistent, bro, I swear. Next is Dave's mole colonies, and it actually kind of helps us since they are all spread out, so we can put Snake Lilies on the first tile to take care of the snorkel zombies. Day 9 was also a 4 flag sub 10-minute level, so yeah, we're kind of cooked. Michael! Just like the snorkel zombies, as long as the Snake Lilies aren't right beside the water, they are able to take out the surfer zombies before they can either plant on the ground or emerge from the water. Next was a plan your defense level, and this one went really smoothly. Like, we didn't lose a single plant, and each wave just got taken out immediately, and we had so many zomboids getting created, like I could just... We had to produce 2,000 sun, but there weren't very many zombies, so probably due to the fact that the water came all the way up to the lawnmowers. But yeah, we had to use some plant food on the shrooms, but we had lawnmowers to safely do so. Now, you might just think I was hating on Snake Lily earlier, and I wasn't really. It's kind of like a hate the game, not the player type of thing, but you cannot look at this clip and say Snake Lily is in the right here, bro. Like, genuinely, you cannot say. Look, like a solid 2 seconds of him just staring at the snorkel zombie, like he wasn't even about to go into the animation of hypnotizing him or anything. Like, no gears are moving inside of there, man. The next time a surfer just kamikazes into the mine, then finally, after a lot of sweating and agony, Snake Lily did not embarrass himself and actually locked in. Finally, the infamous octo zombies appear, and they're about to... Okay, so maybe later in the world they will be worse. So day 20, we are already here. Octodad was being a nuisance all game. In the last wave, we lost 2 llamas and a bunch of plants covered with octopi. But then, after all that chaos, the last wave was literally just 4 zombies and 1 octo. Now, maybe my zombies just took out everyone off screen, but I doubt it. Day 22 had the other dum-dum of this world, the fisherman, which he wasn't that bad on, at least on this level. Our Snake Lilies can one-shot him if they are ever 3 tiles away from him, so that's good to note. But really, it's just the fact that Snake Lily's plant food is just so much better than Call Powers. It's kind of crazy. Day 23 was protecting the banana launchers, which is both a blessing and a curse, since we don't need plant food to take out the Gargs, but he can get taken out by the fisherman. But we also have to keep them alive, so naturally, I died quite a bit of times trying to protect these chums. But in one attempt, we dealt with all of the fishermen flawlessly and had a lawnmower to take care of the last wave. Day 25 is what I'm talking about. We have to defeat 10 zombies in 5 seconds. It doesn't even really matter, but we can't spend too much sun. And it is the fisherman zombie and octo zombie galore. Like my first attempt, I lost 2 lawnmowers immediately, and then the first octo zombie kinda just wrapped up on my plants in some freaky tentacle shit. We did end up making it to the end, kind of, if you can call this making it. The next attempt also wasn't looking too hot at all, but somehow we actually made it to the end, and after all of our lawnmowers were gone, we were relying on 1 Snake Lily to save us. You probably thought it wasn't going to shoot. Yeah, me either. Day 27 seems pretty difficult because the water is all the way up to the lawnmowers, but it was actually really easy. Same with day 28, which I remember struggling on a lot in the only hypno challenge, but here, very simple. Finally, day 29 was also very easy. It was only 1 flag, so yeah, very easy to end quickly. Now the final level, and by far the hardest for this challenge, basically we have to protect these guacodiles, and when the fisherman zombie pulls on them, they charge down the lane and it counts as them being eaten. Now with that being said, how do I genuinely do this with only these 2 plants? The fisherman's line goes straight through the zomboids, and by the 3rd flag, every lane has at least 1 fisherman on it. It wouldn't have been a problem if the water was up because they would just pull on the lily pads, but the flag hits and all the water goes away and emerges a full column of fishermen. I don't even think we would have the sun or the cooldowns at that point to have at least 1 plant in front of every guacodile, let alone beat the level with it. Why would they use Guacodile's bravery and willingness to sacrifice himself to take out zombies like this? If you can't see where this is going, this level is pretty much impossible with just Zoe Bean and Snake Lily and no sun producers, so yeah. Big Wave Beach kind of got my hopes up. I thought I was going to beat it without an impossible level, so that's great. Now for the world that might surprise a lot of you, Modern Day. Now Modern Day has always been kind of easy peasy in my mind. Like when I think of the hardest worlds, it probably isn't even in my top 3. But Day 5 had a few zombies from Lost City and Neon Mixtape Tour, and then a Lost City Gargantuar. I don't know what the point of having different world Gargantuars in here are when there's only like 2 guards that have a different attack than the other Gargantuars. Like why not have every Gargantuar have a different attack? Wouldn't that be pretty sick? Day 6 we had to produce a crazy amount of sun, and I don't even know how we stalled the game out this long. I thought for sure this was the second try. Thank goodness for the Lost City Imp tents, I guess. Day 7, of course, had Octo Zombies. Of course. I thought we were going to squeak this one out, but then the final wave came with like 3 Octos and they just came and beat me up. But it seemed like whatever I did, I couldn't shake off the Octo Zombies. At least in Big Wave Beach, the Octo Zombies usually went for all the lily pads first, but here it's literally just our snake lilies getting tentacled. So I did with Sunshrooms and basically acted as the lily pads, just taking all the tentacles for us. Thank you, Sunshrooms. So day 7 only possible with Sunshrooms, or maybe really good luck, I don't know. Day 10 had ferret zombies, which I can't catch a break, bro. Apparently my Zomboid didn't get the memo about attacking them either. Neither did Snake Lily. I got later in the level, but it didn't matter. I lost everything. And my lawnmowers don't do anything since they just spawn ferrets after death. I mean, just look at the screen and tell me how I could take out this wave with just 4 Snake Lilies and 2 plant food, bro. Like, ha. Day 11 did have the piano zombies and the pusher robots that we have a hard time dealing with. I will take anything over those zombies from last level. Day 12 was pretty close because of the dinosaurs in the beginning, but other than that, it was pretty smooth sailing. Day 15 was protecting 2 prime walnuts again, and I felt bad for them because every single try I did, they were chewed past coming back. Well, at least for later strategies. At first, I actually tried to protect them by plant fooding them and stuff, but that didn't work out for me, so next I just let them get chewed like crazy so Snake Lily can have the plant food. Day 17's main thing was a lot of arcade zombies, but it was very easy. Day 18 was also straightforward with just bulls and balloons. Day 20 had sun tiles all the way up the lawn. Like, I don't know what they expect me to do with this. Then I don't even remember what the level it was. It was either like 21 through 23, but I forgot to record it, so here's the ad I watched after I beat it as proof. Now on day 24, it was time to see how the Snake Lily would fare against the charging football zombies. Honestly, what did I expect? I then proceeded to lose every lane after that, and it came down to a final 1v1. As soon as my Snake Lily got off cooldown, I placed him down and... okay, he kind of redeemed himself. Day 26, we were having a rough time against the football zombies and the robots. My attempts came nowhere near the final wave, and I was hopeless the entire time. Not to mention, not a ton of plant food and Snake Lily also didn't help us that much. So after some tries, there isn't much I can change up with only 2 plants on the roster and a couple of plant food. So yeah, this one's impossible too. Until they fix Snake Lily's attack and his like brain, yeah.
3:28 a.m.
The last day for the challenge is also a nightmare since Snake Lily can't react to the football zombie fast enough and we have to sacrifice our Zoidbeam pod for the football zombies. Just too much stuff for 2 Snake Lilies that have to stop any zombie from getting 3 tiles down the lawn. So I use some producers, but how many impossible levels does this challenge have? I would say around 9, I'm pretty sure. We had at least 1 in Pirate Seas, 2 in the Wild West, 1 in Dark Ages, 1 in Neon Mixtape, 1 in Big Wave Beach, and most of all, 3 in Modern Day. I know that sounds like quite a bit, but for 2 plants completing the entire game, I'd say that's pretty good. I mean, there are hundreds of levels, so only 9 being impossible for 2 plants, I mean, that's solid. This challenge has made me hate Snake Lily though, and I never want to use him again just because if he had a faster reaction time, we could have beaten like 5 more levels. I know I didn't give Zoidbeam Pod a proper spotlight for this challenge, even though he was the first plant to be able to do this, but at least I'm not hating on him like I am Snake Lily, so he can take what he can get. Also, I've seen some good challenge suggestions in the comments, and I want y'all to keep them coming. One of y'all's comments will probably be the next video, so yeah, just start thinking of stuff. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the challenge, because I did. Next challenge in a few. See ya.